You're watching Mirror 7 News. Stay informed, stay ahead for more news.
Patrick Dangerfield recently shared an incredibly personal story about one of the darkest days in AFL history, revealing the secret he confided in coach Phil Walsh just hours before Walsh's tragic death. Speaking on Unfiltered with Hamish McLaughlin, Dangerfield recounted the moments leading up to what would become a shocking and unforgettable event in Australian sport. Back in 2015, Dangerfield was playing for the Adelaide Crows, and his future had been the subject of widespread speculation. He was out of contract, and a move to Geelong was anticipated by many. What few people knew at the time was that Dangerfield had already made his decision, and he had shared it with someone very close, Phil Walsh. "The first person I told was Phil Walsh," Dangerfield said. They had met for green tea. Walsh was apparently a big tea fan on a Thursday afternoon, and Dangerfield trusted him enough to reveal his plans. Walsh promised to keep the news to himself, and Dangerfield felt reassured, believing in Walsh's character and discretion. Tragically, only 10 hours later, the AFL world was rocked. David Noble, the Crows' head of footy, appeared at Dangerfield's door at 5:30 a.m., delivering news that would forever mark the sport. Phil Walsh had been killed in a domestic incident at his home. Dangerfield described the surreal feeling of having just shared a private conversation with someone who was suddenly gone. "It's almost easier to talk to because it still doesn't seem real, like it was just out of a movie," he explained. The week that followed was one of the toughest periods of Dangerfield's life. Walsh had been a fiercely intelligent and disciplined coach, but also a father figure to many in the club. The sudden loss left the team reeling, yet support from colleagues like Emma Barr, the player development manager at the time, helped keep the group united. Adelaide's scheduled clash against Geelong was cancelled, and the team later travelled to Perth to face West Coast in what became an emotionally charged game. Dangerfield reflected on how the players leaned on one another, sharing moments of solidarity and release, but also grappling with a grief that no one should ever have to experience. Through all of this, Dangerfield emphasized the extraordinary impact Walsh had on the club, describing him as someone who was both ruthless in coaching and deeply caring in his guidance. Even amidst tragedy, the bonds formed in that period remained powerful. Dangerfield's recollection reminds us not just of a heartbreaking loss, but also of the deep human connections that define sport. He concluded with a reflection on shared resilience. "We experienced so much in life together. Unfortunately, we experienced something that no one should have to deal with, but we did, and we only had each other." This story, shared decades later, shines a light on the quiet, human side of elite sport. Moments of trust, mentorship, and profound loss that ripple far beyond the playing field. Stay subscribed for more videos.